Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is for you. I'm Sam, and today we're gonna ask the question, is it worth it to cheap out on tires? And you know what? We at Fitment Industries know a thing or two because we sell a metric ton of tires. You can pair those tires with wheels too, have them mounted, balanced, and shipped for free at fitmentindustries.com. To a lot of people, and myself included a few years ago, tires are really boring. I mean, honestly, they're just like these round rubber chunks that you have to put on your cool wheels and then drive around on that. I used to honestly hate buying tires because I frankly didn't know jack about them. Now, honestly, I do. And that's come with burning through a few sets every couple of weekends in the summer at the track. I also know what it's like not to have good tires, what it's like to have bad tires that delaminate on you, and honestly, that kind of sucks. What makes a tire cheap though, or let's go through what makes a tire expensive, because that's the thing a lot of people ask is like, why is this tire more expensive than another tire? There's a lot that goes into tires, and it's honestly a pretty interesting subject. You can go on Google and search a whole bunch of stuff, look at some videos, read some forums, read some blogs, and find out there's a ton of science that actually goes into making and designing tires, and a lot of trade secrets, kind of like the Coke recipe, that keep that shit on lock. It's secret. There are two main things that really matter to the everyday person when it comes to tires. That would be tire compound and tread pattern. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get super nerdy here, but I do wanna talk about this a little bit. Tire compound is really what the composition of your tires is. That's the secret sauce that goes into making the tire. Speaking of secret sauce, I always find it kind of odd when a restaurant says they have a secret sauce, because it just sounds kind of weird. Like, why is it a secret? Just tell us what the sauce is. When it comes to tires though, there are a lot of secrets around what makes them a certain compound. These different compounds react differently to the road surface and your driver inputs while you're in the car, flowing the gas, turning really sharp, all that stuff. Some tires are super soft and grip like hell on the road, while others are hard as a rock, make you slide all over the place when you put your right foot down. Treadwear rating comes into play here with a lower rating, meaning the stickier the tire and also the less life you'll typically get out of that tire since they wear faster. These tires are considered soft. Harder tires, they'll wear slower, but they won't be as grippy when you're really tossing that car around. Simply, you're gonna slide around a little bit. You get some tire noise. They're slippery. A good rule of thumb though is that grippier, lower treadwear tires are usually more expensive. Just to be honest, they're more expensive because the compounds are softer, allowing you to get the most mechanical grip. This is great for when you want to get the most out of your car performance-wise, but kind of gets expensive if you're just commuting. You don't need the stickiest tires ever if you're just driving from your home to work. Vice versa though for the harder tire compounds with a higher treadwear. There's absolutely a balance in the middle, but the tires that do that balance well are usually on the higher end of the price range because it's harder to compromise and do both of those things well. See, I'm not getting too nerdy here. We're keeping it pretty high level for you folks. But let's talk about tread pattern now. Not all tread patterns are created equal, and not all tread patterns do the same dang thing. Something like a drag radial tire, for example, will have almost no tread on it. Just enough tread to let you drive on the road without breaking the law in some places. Just like tire compounds, different tread patterns will be better for different uses. A winter tire, for example, will have a tread pattern specifically designed to help toss snow, ice, salt, all that crap away from the tire and give you the most grip possible on a snowy surface. An all-season tread pattern will be pretty good at driving in a variety of conditions you'll see throughout all the seasons. It's called an all-season, it's just kind of good in all the seasons. Honestly, it's kind of like okay in all the seasons. Living in Wisconsin, I do enjoy the change of seasons. It's gotta be weird for you Florida boys though, that you go from summer to winter and the only thing you change is like you wear a hoodie instead of a t-shirt. I know it's like 50 degrees and you're all wearing parkas, that's kind of crazy. Then, honestly, let's talk about tires again. You got my favorite, the ultra high performance summer tires that have a tread pattern to help you drive in the rain and channel water away from the contact patch of the tire. And in the dry, they're super grippy and you get the most performance out of your car that you can get. So that's enough explaining and talking about design stuff. That's as nerdy as we're gonna get. Now, it's story time. All right, we're gonna go through some stories here because what better way to talk about if it's worth it to cheap out on tires than to kind of go through my own experience. All right, first of all, I used to own a Jaguar XJ8 and I bought it with some basically brand new Michelin Pilot Sport all-season tires. My mind at the time was blown when I looked up how much these tires cost, but I was like, well, it's a Jaguar. It should have tires that match the look of the car. Let me tell you though, those tires were the absolute best tires I have ever had for all seasons. I drove on them for almost 70,000 miles through summers and winters, and they still had okay tread on them when I sold the car. It needed to be changed, but you could still drive on it. That was a super heavy car being a Jaguar XJ8, and it wasn't friendly on tires, but they wore really well. The ride quality on them was also amazing, and they were super quiet on the highway. I rode in someone else's German luxury car when I had the Jag, and that German car had some cheap tires. Honestly, they were really loud and the ride quality kind of sucked, and the owner didn't get nearly as many miles on them as I did with my more expensive tires. After the Jag, I bought a Mustang, big change of pace here, with some Nitto NT 555s. That's how I like to say it. That had an insane amount of grip, and I used all of that grip on some back roads. Even with a heavy foot in that Mustang, I never had to replace those tires in the 4 summers that I drove the car. In the winter, I still drove that car, honestly. Like, I drove a Mustang summer and winter. It was awesome. And I drove that on some Continental winter contact tires and had an absolute blast with tons of grip in the snow that made a rear-wheel drive car easy to drive when it got slippery. And if any of you guys out there are driving a rear-wheel drive car in the winter, you do know how much fun it is since you can just slide around if you want. But a good set of winter tires does make a huge difference because you can actually drive the car in the winter and be safe. Now, when I take my IS300 I currently have to the track, I've experimented with quite a few different tires to get the most out of the car while still racking up laps without needing to change tires. Doing some research and honestly really experimenting with different tires, tire pressures, all that stuff has shown me some huge differences when it comes to the drifting application, just taking your car to the track and using tires to their maximum performance level. I've also had some cars with super cheap tires and was happy not to spend much up front, but honestly, I found myself buying tires more often and not being able to push the car nearly as hard as I probably could have on some better tires. My Integra, honestly, would have been way more fun if I just had some better tires. It was kind of fun because the tires on it were terrible and it just squealed all the time and had crazy torque steer and just, it was kind of a mess, but better tires would have made it more fun to drive in general. What does this story time all mean? It means I've had some experience, especially some pretty decent tires, and I absolutely love it. But is it worth it to cheap out on tires? That's the question we're here to answer. I really don't think so. I don't think it's worth it to cheap out on tires. I 100% get that sometimes you're buying a new set of wheels and you don't have a budget left for tires. I've been there, I've done it, I'm probably gonna do it again, but go ahead and buy the cheap tires so you can start rolling on your new wheels because that's what's most important. But remember, save up though and buy some better tires when you can, and you'll enjoy the car more when you go that route. And if you can up front, save right away and buy some better tires and pair them with your wheels. You'll really enjoy the car more with a proper tire. Also, for true enthusiasts that know a thing or two about tires, a good set of tires can be equally as impressive as a set of baller wheels. Whenever I see Alex Solar's cars and they're absolutely Gucci tires, I think the cars look even cooler because you know what those tires are made to do and you know they're not cheap. Just like when you see some Volks, it's like those aren't cheap wheels. The same goes with tires. Whenever I've spent more on tires, especially when on the track or driving hard, the benefits far outweigh the costs. Yes, it might not be the most exciting thing to spend a bunch of money on tires, but man, does it make a big difference. If you're not driving hard and just want a cool looking daily driver, then a proper set of tires will help with road noise, ride quality, and even your gas mileage. You fancy boys out there, you also know what it's like to wear through tires with a lot of camber, and proper tires for that application will give you a longer life and possibly save you money in the long run. In conclusion, it's not worth it to cheap out on tires. Buy good tires, and if you're looking around, we have a ton of videos talking about tires right here on the Fitment Industries channel. I really appreciate you guys watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and drop a comment below. Tell us your story and experience with buying cheap tires, expensive tires. Let's get that comment section popping. I'm Sam. Take care, guys.
You should just sign off as Jerry.
Jerry?